But speaking of collaboration, there was one part that we haven't addressed yet. Jesse, I'm really curious to know what was your experience working with an experienced producer? So I don't want to put Book on the spot,
Oh no! Oh no!
but I would love to hear more because it's. I mean, our services like we like it's such a big part of like who we are and the services we offer that I had to ask you that question.
It was critical for us to have that kind of experience where we were able to rely very heavily on the experts. And we weren't the experts, and we're not the experts in the platform and the environment and creating these types of digital conversations on what works and what doesn't. And it was really nice to be able to have everything that we needed. Everything, even from communicating how to access the platform, what types of language works best, what kinds of emails we should send out and when, and having that production partner throughout the entire planning process was really critical to the success of the event. And so having that producer role was so important to us, because otherwise we wouldn't know what to communicate, how to communicate it, how to share what kind of experience this was going to be. And because you've had the opportunity to do so many of these, we really relied on you to help us to understand how best to utilize this environment to create a community for our attendees.
Yeah, and I had an amazing experience as well. And being an experienced producer is an interesting thing because it really differs from client to client, right? We have a lot of different personas, a lot of different, whether that is a corporate client or an association or whatever, it's different from event to event and from client to client. And I think that sometimes an experienced producer's role is really to be hands-on and be the one who takes over. But sometimes it's the guide. And I think in this instance, it was more guidance than anything else, because Jessie and her team were so extremely good at accepting our best practices, and whether we were thinking outside of the box with a couple of things and so on. But you really took the role on as well as the communicator to your participants, because that's at the end what you do. You even went so far, actually, and sent an email to your participants saying, click here with an arrow on your email that you drew yourself. Click on new topic here so you can create a topic, which I think was extremely, was very amazing, and kind of shows the willingness for Braindate to be a success at the end of the day. And there's always this thing with being an experienced producer. The client understands the value of Braindate. We understand the value of Braindate, but how do we translate that to a participant who's never heard about Braindate before, or maybe has and just experienced it for 5 minutes, or just checked out the platform but didn't really understand what it was about? That translation is very difficult at times, and that's where we sometimes struggle. But to be honest, these kinds of things are made easier by people like you who are willing to go that extra step. So thanks to you. But it's also, that's why Braindate is a collaborative experience. It's not only about what Braindate gives to you, but it's also about what we learn from our clients as well. And just to kind of pivot to another conversation when it comes to learning, is the actual event experience in Braindate is quite interesting, because we have something that are called virtual learning concierge, which you all know what is, but some of the people that are probably going to listen, hopefully going to listen, don't. These are real people that are in our back end, basically helping out participants, whether this is being proactive, reaching out, letting people know, hey, we're here to help. If you need anything, we're there, whether that's an audiovisual issue, whatever it is, right? And there's situations where we have people that just by chance are being stood up. So you would have a host that's hosting something with a guest, but that guest doesn't show up. What the virtual learning concierge does is they reach out to them, make them aware that, hey, we're out on the look. We're trying to find this person as well. And if we find it, we're going to reach out and let them know that you're waiting in your Braindate. So there's a lot of use cases here. But one of the main things is as well what we get from participants. So participants that actually give feedback to us. And this event was very special because we got a lot of feedback. And it was how to, and you know that people like the product when they put in the effort to tell you, hey, I think this could be better. And we listen to our users because what better way to learn than to listen to people who are actually using your product? And we have so many testimonials, so much great feedback that we always log. We always let our product teams know, hey, this is what happened at MPI Talk Fest. Maybe we could become better at this. So this is just an ode to the learning experience that goes both ways.
I think the time zones was one of the things that came out of those discussions, right? And that led to an improvement on the platform.
Yeah. Exactly. And another thing that has been added, I remember that in your topic section, there was some people who were kind of defining what kind of conversations they were having, and we spoke about this briefly before. But these conversations formats that we've added to Braindate as well, that help people go into a Braindate. So Braindate is sometimes intimidating. Like imagine going somewhere, and even though you're right, Janice, and I agree with you, I feel more comfortable virtually than I do in person. And this has to do something with how I am as a person. But some people are different. Some people enjoy being in person more and find the virtual space being kind of strange and harder to define because there are some expressions you can't see and so on, some energies you can't feel, which is why we added these conversations formats that actually frame the conversation. So you have a help me solve, ask me anything, brainstorming, storytelling, open discussion, friendly debates. And we're just trying to see how this actually helps people go into a Braindate with a certain intent, with expectations, but also for the guests to understand what they're getting themselves into. So this has been a great addition that unfortunately wasn't there for your event, but something we took with us afterwards, and it definitely helped us create this new product and new feature.
Yeah.